will help flow. So I'm going to get some paint out, and I'm going to show you guys what all these different brush strokes do. I'm going to use black paint so that you guys can see, so that it's super contrasting, because I don't like when it's not contrasting. I feel like sometimes it makes it so you guys can't see what we're putting, you know, like what you're picking up on camera, and I want you guys to be able to see everything. And if I need to bring the camera closer, please let me know so that I can make sure you see every little detail. Okay, so I'm using acrylic paint here. I do like to put a little bit of water down. I've got a tile. I put a little water down on the side of it and work your brush into the water so that you kind of coat that, and then you can lightly stroke it through your paint. This is the way to load your brush. You don't want a heavy dot at the end of your brush. So see how I've got those bristles loaded? I don't know why it's taking, there we go. When you load your brush, you don't want it to have a ball on the end. Let's see if I can get it. It's not going to do it. You don't want to start with this much paint on your brush. Reason being is that you're going to have uncontrolled lines. So make sure you're dragging your brush through the paint. Even if it's gel, you want to drag your brush and load it properly. So then when you go onto a piece of paper, you can create, okay, we're going closer. You can create thin lines. Mine are kind of ski-wampus, I'm trying to see. Now, to create a thicker line if you need to, even using this small bristled brush, you put the pressure down. And see how almost half the body of the brush is on there? And can you see the difference between this line and those three lines? It's all about pressure. So when you're putting pressure on your brush, you will be creating a thicker line. So to get those thin lines, you only want the tip of your brush to hit that paper or the nail or whatever it may be. The more body that's on your product or on your nail or on the surface, the thicker the line. So you can do a medium and do a stroke like that. So again, load my brush and go thin again. And you barely have to touch it. And then this will be a thicker line. Do you guys see the difference that just pressure can make? You want to make sure that you're applying the proper pressure, because then when you go in to do an outline, so say, let me get my pencil. So you've got your petal here. And when you go to do an outline of that petal, what's going to happen, we'll do one side with too much pressure and one side with, or not too much pressure, but more pressure. You're going to, my brush is being weird, lightly go around the one side and see how you can just feather it up, and as you lift up, it brings the line thinner. So when you go in and you're doing a little bit heavier of a line, when you're putting more pressure on your brush, what it does is it almost creates, sorry, this is an awkward angle for me. It creates almost like a shadowy look on that side, and it almost tends to make it look even more unrealistic. And when sometimes, that's the look you're going for, and sometimes it's not. So you guys can do different techniques with that. So if you're doing just an outline of a nail and you don't have, a guide to follow, you can just take it and brush it. And then this is a heavier line. And you can kind of see the difference there. And the heavier line, it just, when you get color on, it almost looks too heavy on the nail. And so you just want a light shadow. You don't want, or a light outline. You don't want a heavy one. And reason being is because you want those colors to pop. You want the colors to be the center focal point. You don't want the product itself. So guys, those are what your liner brushes will do. I'm going to go to my shorter liner brush and show you what that one will do. This one it's size number 1, but I swear it's like the smaller normally. So guys, let's see. So when you're picking up paint, same thing. You want to just stroke it into your paint. And this one will pick up a lot more. Can you guys see that? So you can create a thick line like this one with just this brush. And I'm barely pushing down on it. This one will create a much thicker line. And it doesn't look much thicker, but it really is. So, you guys, I'm getting paint all over. Practice and play with your brushes. Don't hesitate to play with them, because once you get to know them and you get to work with your brushes, you guys will notice how easy it is. When you're doing strokes, you really want, let's see. You really want to let your brush work for you. You don't want to struggle with it. So guys, this is a thicker bodied brush. And let's see. So in using this is hardly any pressure. So once again, your pressure will make a difference in what your brush stroke looks like. So I'm going to put a heavier pressure. And can you guys see the difference? That's why pressure is number 1. And I know I'm going to say it over and over and over again. Light pressure, light line. Heavy pressure, heavier line. And it's just the way that it is. And I hate that it is, because I wish that we could all be magic and create these beautiful thin lines and everything. It's wishful thinking. But this one is really good to do petals with. If you're just wanting to do one solid petal, you can do little, almost like, they're not necessarily comma strokes, but when you get towards the tip of that petal, you lift up and it will thin it out. Magic is good. And you can create your little flowers this way if it makes it easier for you, and then you can go back and outline with your other. But I like to use liner brushes because I feel like I can get it more like direct to where I want it to go. This one can be good for doing a a little bit heavier of a stroke, but like in a spiral. And your spirals, when you do them, you do your half circle. And then I don't ever continue. I go back and pick it up and go around and then go back. And make sure that when you're stroking, it's coming towards you. It makes it easier. Because when you're trying to angle your brush and you're like this, well, you don't have full control of your brush. So when you're going away, you only have a certain amount of space to go. But when you're stroking it towards you, you have a lot more control. You can move the brush how you need it. So make sure that when you try and keep it towards you. But if you're on, let's see. If you're on, so we've got it now. Let me get my stand and I'll show you. So here's your client. Here's her nail. So if you're having to put product on this side of the nail, I gotta lift my phone up to do this. I will always go in and let's see, so this way, I go this way. Some people think that it's really strange as I put a stroke on there. You guys can't see the light. Sometimes I'll have to go in this way and stroke it towards me, and that does help. But when you get up to the top and you're going to stroke this way, it's very hard, so make sure your strokes are slower, because as you can see, sometimes you mess them up. And when you're doing something, you start from the center, because then your lines will be thinner out, if that makes sense. You want to make sure that those brush strokes that you're doing, sometimes it's a little bit hard to accomplish what you really are intending to do, because trust me, I struggle with it all the time. So guys, this one is the one that I was telling you about that is, you can do pretty easy petals with. So I'll bring my camera back down. And